Marshall in the middle.
Welcome back to the NBC Room. My fellow compatriots, my fellow veterans. Big dog, Big Nate in the house.
What?
We got Top Will Marshall in the house. Hey man, I don't want to sound like a "I told you so" type of guy. And I know that you guys might not jump that far into conclusion, but if anybody that's been watching this has heard me talk a lot about communism and socialism being the biggest threats more than anything. Now, there's a lot of people that watch us that probably don't agree with none of my takes, especially when it comes down to, how I favor a lot what Trump has. But one thing we all must agree on is Trump is a master of speaking to the concerns that are directly affecting a vast majority of the people, and also speaking to trends that seem to be taken up. He has the antenna for opportunities, marketing, and branding. And he knows when those times are to get something rolling, getting some kind of, energy behind something. That's how he won his elections. A lot of people that he endorses gets benefit by way of him just speculating and looking at things that in that way. So with that being said, there was a speech he did on July 4th that I think that every American, I don't care if you like him, hate him, I don't care if you care about the right left dynamic, I don't care if you have no clue what current politics mean in general to you. This speech is pointing out something that is coming, whether we like it, face it, or not. And I'm gonna quit talking and let's roll some of this bean footage. Can you guys hear it? Oh, it's not shared? Okay, I got
you. Share your screen.
I am sorry.
Share your screen.
All right.
Share it, baby.
You see it down there?
There we go.
Right.
There it is, bro.
All right. How does it
we
sound?
approach this magnificent anniversary,
All
we
right.
see our American identity under a renewed attack. A generation after we fought and won the Cold War against the menace of communism, there is now a resurgence of the communist menace in our land, including from newcomers to our country who embrace ideas totally opposed to our way of life and our great success. These are not mere political disagreements like differences
Ray, somebody mute microphone.
Communism is a mortal threat.
There we go.
In liberty. It is the greatest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or even 9/11. We're not going to let this happen to us. Believe me, we're not letting it happen. Because communism is the enemy of free people everywhere in the world. Never works. It's the enemy of the Constitution. Above all, it's the enemy of July 4th, 1776. It is the enemy indeed. Even while the radicals and extremists attack our incredible history at every turn, they are silent on the miserable history of communism itself because it never worked. Thousands of years, if you look at it, under different names, under somewhat different ideologies and systems, that system has led to more death and destruction than any system ever tried. It killed 100 million people just in the last century alone. Communism is the exact opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. The godless communist morality states that anything is justified to bring about inhuman visions and to really propose what's good. They don't want good. They don't love God, and they don't want God. They don't love religion, and they don't want religion, and they won't have it. But we will not let them win. They have no chance against us. They have no respect for law, justice, principle, tradition, or your God-given rights. It's an ideology of mass theft, mass control, mass lies, and mass murder. Such doctrines can be given no quarter in a democracy. because the first thing they do when they get into power is turn around and destroy it. It always is destroyed, just as communists have done in other countries all over the world, no matter where you look. Very simply, communism represents the worst ideas and abuses in history by the worst people. The American founding represents the best ideas and traditions in history by the best people like you. You can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can be loyal to America. You can be a communist, or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, who tell our children that we live on stolen land or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future. Not going to let that happen. They're trying to tear down the great American character, to destroy the people who declared independence, who crossed the Delaware, who settled the West and conquered the skies. You know who those people are. But we will never let that happen. Our American ancestors did not shed their blood at Concord and Trenton, Gettysburg and Shiloh, Midway and Normandy, just so that a band of thieves, radicals, and lunatics could come in and loot, pillage our nation. Our heroes died to win, build, and to save, and to build truly a great country, the greatest country ever in the world. So on the eve of this 250th anniversary of American heritage, we resolve and swear for all to hear that the citizens of the United States of America will vanquish communism quickly. Don't let them take too much of your time. You know they're wasting your time, don't you? But we're not going to let them take too long or too much of our time as they play their games and send them into exile. We will send them quickly away, and we will continue to build our country bigger and better, stronger than ever before. America will never be a communist country.
Okay, unmute.
So
There we go.
to say, he tapped into something that, I think, you and I know to a degree from reading your book, Nate. There's been a movement since at least the Bush years of a Tea Party-esque or originalist contextualized constitutional bearing movement that really wants to ingratiate itself in the middle class and the bottom half of the country, a grassroots longing to overthrow this bureaucracy that's hovering above us in so many different ways. Top, I got a question for you before I run back to Nate on this. Do you feel that his threat or his idea of the threat is something that he actually sees, or does it come from a place of people just not wanting to share?
Oh, no. He sees a movement coming that is definitely dangerous. It's not about just sharing. It's a whole bigger movement. Yeah. Look, you're not going to find me jumping up and down about becoming a communist. You will you will hear me talking about sharing, but what I'm talking about is loving my neighbor that's next door. I'm talking about sharing locally. And then over time, look, don't think for a second that I'm like a Marxist in those kinds of ideas.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry.
Where we're going with that.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to the only thing that I care about is that it deep down inside as a person, and that's the only thing that I can worry about. It's just me personally. I have a calling to share rather than not share. Right? If anybody wants to anything that I have, and I have some kind of a reasonable relationship with that person, I would love to share the things that I have. I give out guitars and musical instruments left and right for people to try to learn and share, and I love it. And I think that that's important. The thing that I wrote an article about this, okay? There's a share line, and I don't know where the share line is, okay? Obviously, it's different for each person. But when I was in Sunday school and I was a little kid, we had to share our toys. And that was all cool. Everybody liked it. That was fine. But somehow my mom and dad don't share their toys with other families in our neighborhood like children in our Sunday school class. You go church, yeah, share, everything's fine. The other thing that was neat about it was that Jesus loved me and everything was wonderful up until age 12 and 13, when all of a sudden hair started growing on my balls and I started to stink. And then suddenly I became a sinner, right, that needed saving by grace. And I get all those concepts, but they're just concepts. So when we talk about capitalism, we talk about communism, we talk about Marxism, all those kinds of things. Look, I'm a sharer, okay? And the difference between all of it is who gets to decide who else gets bombed. And it's really a wild thing. But at the top level, all those governments are the same. The US and China and Russia, all those people are just a conglomeration of companies. They're not our reps.
You just touched on something very prescient to the conversation topic. When you said that at the top, all of them are the same. And the reality is, are you familiar with the term federalism? All right. Nate, if you can, I'm pretty sure you're kind of well versed on this. If you can, could you give us and the viewers a quick brief synopsis of what you think or why you feel the founders started our place as a republic, a constitutional republic, and not a full-blown democracy, and why that federalist system is what actually was the safeguards to what we actually became?
That's a great question. Our founders wanted to do this because they wanted to give the people the say-so of how our government would even work, and how it would be under a constitution where you have three different equal branches, so that everybody has the checks and balances. That is a huge system. And if you look right now, Ray and Will, if you look right now, we have individuals right now that are being voted to go into our Congress that want to eliminate at least two of those branches of our government. They only want really one branch, and that's the legislative. And actually, they want to cut that in half, and they want to get rid of the Senate.
Exactly.
How dangerous is that? And so, to answer your question, I think our founders they sat and they fought, and they fought, and they argued, and they fought, and I think if I'm not mistaken, knowing my history a little bit, they went to blows, man. Sometimes
there was
trying
some
to
duels.
get this.
There was literally duels over it.
I mean, they were trying to get this. They were trying to get this shit figured out, man, and it took a long time, dude. And it wasn't like overnight, you know. And like I think you talked about this. You hit this right on the head. I believe last week or maybe the week before. But you were making a point that these were young kids,
right?
Okay, my brothers. These were. Will and Ray, these were young kids, man. They were in their late 20s, early 30s, man. They were kids, and they were like, hey, we're not going to go back to that shit that we just had over in Europe, man. We're going to figure this out. And I think I heard this recently that, no, Ray, I think you said it. I can't remember where I saw this, but you just recently also said, I believe, that our republic or our revolution didn't start with 70 some million people. It started with a
right.
small band of individuals, man,
Right.
that just grew. And I
Right.
think we were talking about this last week with this new little revolution, so they call it.
Yeah.
I call it
Yeah.
bullshit like Trump did. That's never going to
Yeah.
happen. But they're starting off with a small band of people, and it's growing very fast.
Growing
And so yes,
very
it was last week's show that we were talking about that. Yes, sir.
So I wanted to highlight that and just dig into the core of something real quick. You know, Top, you said in the past that, you know, a lot of this politics are theater and that the sharing is paramount to you. If you could share my screen real quick, I have a definition up here. All right. Federalism, a principle or system of government in which several states form a unity but remain independent in internal affairs. You know, I think that our states, right, when we started off, there were people from different tribes, different parts of Europe, different parts of the world, Spaniards, British, France. It was a lot of people that was creating a melting pot. Like Milton Friedman famously quoted, you know, all throughout America's history, immigration was a great thing because it built the country. But there's a point in time where if the people that you're importing are not building, but they're coming to a welfare state, you have just got a citizenry that's given away everything they had. So the federalism in our building blocks of our Constitution is so important because it's being subverted by these buzz terms that I highlighted a couple episodes back. The democratic socialist, right? Democrat. You could throw murder out there and say democratic murderer. Does that make it any less a murderer? No, it's still a murder democratically. You know, the reality of what we're up against is the fact that the smooth selling words and the mind games that they're playing is making it less threatening to the overall populace, because all it sounds like is there's people that are less fortunate, let's help. There's things that we could do for society, let's do better. But we're not digging into the intricacies of how mentally this is poisoning the well of our populace. And to bang this home, let me play two of the responses from the opposing side after Trump's speech, right? So the first one,
as we mark 200,
we're going to play Mondami. Mr. Mondami. This was his 250 speech.
One and only.
250 years. What do we see? We see a city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry while the world's first trillionaire hungers for more. We see monopolies that dominate every industry and oligarchs who buy elections. We see masked agents terrorizing our streets, eating food cooked by our undocumented neighbors before spiriting them away in unmarked vans. We see a nation whose immense wealth has been built by those with calloused, dirt-streaked hands, those who toil on factory floors and chisel into stone. And we see a nation that has allowed so much of that wealth to be held instead in the soft hands of a precious few. Yes, we see America in a health insurance industry that exploits the sick, but that is not all we see when we look for America. We see it too in the nurse who works a double shift and then stops on her way home to check on an ailing neighbor. Yes, we see America in corporate landlords for whom negligence is a business model. We see it too in the father who tucks his children into bed beneath a ceiling stained with leaks, who wakes before dawn to go to work and still believes his country can do better by his family. Yes, we see America when we spend our tax dollars on bombs and bailouts, when we sell our elections to the highest bidder. Yet we see it just as clearly in every American who still believes this country belongs to we, the people. We see America each time neighbors link arms with neighbors without asking how long they have lived here or what papers they have, as ICE invades our neighborhoods. We see America each time those young and old stand in the beating rain or the stifling heat to cast their ballots. We see America each time working people demand more, not just for themselves, but for their fellow Americans.
Yeah.
There are some who respond to those who ask for more from America with a simple refrain. Love it or leave it, they say. But patriotism has never been about pretending our nation is without flaws. Patriotism is every act of righteous dissent. It is every march led under the heavy sun. It is every protest held a decade before its time. It is precisely because we love this nation that we will not leave it. After all, who loves America more than those who have sacrificed so much to make it free?
According to his new proposal, his salary and the salary of New York City Council will see an increase of almost 20%. But you got to wait for the excuse on why they're doing this.
Under this proposal, the mayor's salary would climb to just over $305,000 annually. That's a roughly
You're muted again, man. You're muted, Ray.
So I'm reading this script on the page. Could you pull this back up real quick?
Yeah.
Zoran Mandami may receive a $50,000 pay raise. He's only been in office for 6 months. As part of the city council proposal, increasing salaries for elected officials. Newly elected New York City Mayor Zoran Mandami, despite campaigning on a socialist platform, could see his salary rise from $258,000 to nearly $300,000 under a city council bill proposing a 16% pay increase for the mayor, council members, and other officials. The bill, introduced by Councilwoman Natasha Williams and co-sponsored by 32 of 45 Democratic council members, would also raise council salaries. All of the people we were just railing on earlier this month or a month or two ago that he's putting in his office, the people that want to eliminate private property, 32 of 45 Democratic council members will also raise council salaries from $150,000 to roughly $170,000. All right, so I highlight this part of this this rebuttal that he has, and plus my little 2 cents to the fact of the contradictions that he talk about really comes from that side of the aisle every single time when we think about it. Trump is the only president in history to donate all his salary, and they never talk about it. They never talk about it. They stopped talking about it in the first term. He has never taken a paycheck and always donated his whole paycheck. But they want to talk about his private equity and his private holdings gaining value, which everybody has. My problem with this is the fact that in most of the circumstances, you have individuals like me, my partner, Top Notch. He just had to pay his tax bill. I had to pay my tax bill. I was a little late. $19,000, man. I bust my ass regularly, and now I'm paying $19,000 tax bill on top of the taxes that I got to pay whenever I employ anybody. So I'm paying double tax, payroll tax, then corporate tax, which gets double taxed, and then my personal tax at the end of the year when they say, "Oh, well, you almost made, 185,000." Well, guess what, sir? Guess what? There's some people out here. Look, bro, I was homeless 10 years ago. I get it. Everybody needs a hand up and a help out sometimes. But at the same time, consequences come from putting people in the organizations or positions of power where their ideology and them just trying to say sweet words gets people on board with things that just are not realistic, and they actually come and start hurting the nation as a whole. You got multiple counties and cities that are going bankrupt right now. Seattle is losing people by the dozen. I just read an article earlier. The Google CEO, well, one of the Google co-founders, he's losing $75 million on a real estate property in New York just to get away. Just to get away. He's taking the L because he's feeling like over the long course, it'll just serve him better to leave. And the problem with all of this is, as a nation that no longer adheres to the federalist nature of our original founding, we're tied to it. The fixes at the national level always turn around, especially when the Dems are in charge. Well, let's print some more money. Let's go ahead and tax some more to it, which in turn downstreams to the inflation, which in turn downstreams to property house
tax.
Yep. Every single aspect of your daily life, whether it's getting bread and milk, starts being attached to who you're putting in office, even if it's not even your county. it's a downstream effect that eventually comes to everybody. And
Yeah.
that's the problem that I feel that we're having a bridging, a gapping of the bridge to understand that this is not the route we want to go. What could I say to someone that lives in that realm? Or what should I try to elaborate or explain better to bridge that gap? Top, what do you think I'm missing that I'm not hitting on to be able to talk to the root problem of the divide?
So, well, here's what I think. All right. The matter of it is, who's the rescuer here? Who is the person or the group of people that's going to help me and my family out? Okay. If I'm on a particular side, then I look at the government and say, you guys got to help me. My family needs health care. My rent's too high. I work at the 7-Eleven for a double shift and I only make $18.50 an hour, and there's nothing else I can do. And I need the government to help me. And we all got to get together, all of us, and we've got to tell the government that we got to do, you got to help me here. I can't survive with this. And right. And Mandami's like the nurse that works the double shift that visits the neighbor on the way home. We all feel that. We all feel like the people around us, the corporations that run things, they don't take care of their people anymore. There was a time, it was about the time free agency started in professional football and they went on strike. But there was about that time when our nation said, companies, you no longer have to take care of the folks. They're free agents too. They'll go jump around for different jobs. And so our generation were the last ones that had any chance of having a long-term thing unless we had a government job. Those of us that had a government job, I'll tell you, me, I was gold because it was an immediate entrance to the middle class, an immediate everything I could ever want. It was whatever was cool. But I became a ward of the government. All of these people that are out here that have worked their ass off doing a double shift as a nurse or whatever, they know that the government has at every level has taken from them and not given to them and not helped them. The corporations that were around them have taken from them and not given to them. The insurance companies that are here are not being good stewards and insurers of the people. We all know it. The defense industry and Congress votes money to blow people up all the time, but don't give two shits about the pothole that's out here in the street or how long it takes an ambulance to get to somebody's house. The thing, it's at the root of the root of the root. But the issue, though, is that for some reason, there's a group of people that have been sold a bill of goods that the government is going to actually fix it. And it's really tough to think about that because those guys, they don't have nothing else to, they don't know. My kids, man, everybody's kids are looking for somebody to help them because the companies ain't helping them unless they get on a Goldilocks job or they come start working for the government. There's nowhere else, you know. I think Publix supermarket might be a good place to get a job, but I don't know many other places.
What's your take? Nate? What you got?
What Madami, the mayor of New York, what he just said basically described literally the definition between socialism and or Marxism, communism versus capitalism. He didn't even have to put it up there on paper and say, this is the definition, ladies and gentlemen. He gave it to you. Right. I'm with Top on a few things on that. I'm against, of course, Top. I'm going to have to disagree on one main factor is if I joined a government service thinking that that's the only way I can work my way into a middle class position, then not being a patriot to do so, because we're all patriots here. Every one of us are military, man, or were, but it's more of a patriotism thing. Okay, we got lucky that we had a Republican GOP type leadership during our latest years in the military to start paying us a little bit extra. Think about what jump pay was, Will, Ray, when you guys first started on airborne status. I think jump pay was like, I know when I started, I think it was $75.
So when I joined, it was 110 in 87, and then later it went to 150.
Yep,
Yeah,
went to 150.
Yeah, it was 100. Yeah, 100.
Just a little bit. Think about the health or the life insurance. Think about the BAS, okay, basic allowance for subsidies, COLA, all that stuff increased. And I know a lot of people can argue and say, well, that's because cost of living had increased and this and that. But I can tell you right now, being a government service person myself for 20 years of my adult life, and then afterwards, I even worked as a contractor for the National Guard for a little bit. But I can tell you, the pay increases when you always have a GOP administration in the White House and in Congress. It just does. I can count on probably two fingers twice, I think, my 8 years serving under the Clinton administration. I think you guys can agree. I can remember, I think, and I wrote that in my book, One Term. I think I can only remember twice that we got a small, very small percentage pay increase. And then George W. Bush, I'm sorry, got into office, and it just started increasing, almost like a monthly basis. We were getting pay raises. So that's where I kind of go with that scenario.
You know, I too agree with a lot of what Top was saying. Not ironically, but you know, the whole idea that there are people out here that, you know, they have no other out. They have no, in their mind, no way. Because I truly believe that most of it starts mentally first. You know, I coach that to a lot of guys that, you know, I've seen on the other side of the tracks and tried to, you know, coach them into figuring out how to legitimately turn their life around and find positive mechanisms to actually create things. One of the number one things that I express to them, and these are guys that start way off worse than anything any of us on this panel really can imagine. Like, they come from atmospheres where the parents are crackheads and, you know, their mothers are prostitutes. So they grow up and they're watching their mother get railed by different dudes all day until they're fucking 15 and they leave the street. You know, I know people like this, and I've seen some that turn their life around, and I've seen some that are just, here they are, 40 years old, still every 2 years having another booking into a county jail somewhere, and they just can't change that system or that cycle. And one of the things that I noticed, that the ones that actually have taken to anything that I've told them, was the idea when it clicked for them that watching somebody else get wealthy or watching somebody else improve their life does not say that there's anything against them, but that just shows them that it's possible. And, you know, for me, when I see people, you know, making advancements in business, whatever business it is, Top, you said, you know, a few people, you got family members that have ran businesses, you know, people that own little shops. One thing anybody that has ever been in business will know for a fact is that the only way that you actually have a successful business and generate good returns on your investment over the years is by bringing value to people. You can't make a successful business without bringing value to people. And ironically, that's what I see as the core and the root of the argument that Marxists are digging into and playing the emotions out of people that are like what you say, Top, that aren't seen outside of, oh, I can do for myself. Oh, there are avenues other than the government. And that's who they're speaking to, like this. If you could share my screen.
Look at Thomas Jefferson, right?
This was AOC's comments directed to the revolution and the birth and the independence of America.
You look at Thomas Jefferson writing to Madison. in revolt of British aristocracy. The American Revolution was against the billionaires of their time. And we were declaring independence from such an extreme marriage of wealth and power and the state that the voices of everyday people did not exist. Now, of course, in that construction, you had slavery, you had, women who were also not full people in the eyes of the law. But since then, as well, it was the organizing of Black Americans that turned America into a full democracy in the 1960s and well before that, with the Voting Rights Act. And so it's actually the most American thing in the world for us to be fighting for the working class. And it's actually patently un-American to try to aspire to transform our country into a place of kings and landed gentry, which is what we should never aspire to regress to. Look at Thomas Jefferson, right?
Man.
Give some unmute.
My take on that is, this is the subversion of the mind of these individuals that I believe are the gullible. The buzzwords, Democrat, democracy. Like, have you guys ever heard the term or the analogy that democracy is nothing but two wolves and a lamb voting on what's for dinner? You guys ever heard that? That concept is the idea that there's always going to be the individuals that you're speaking for in your prelude to the government will provide, right? There's always going to be that voting block of people that will always be like, I would rather or prefer, a help from the government rather than, can y'all get out my way? And I think that was what the founders, when they said, we gave you a republic if you can keep it, it was based off of the Protestant work ethic that came over here. Everybody was a hard-ass worker. The ethos of building America came off the sweat and tears of pioneers that were exploring, building. We get this quick 1619 project propaganda. We get it was nothing but the Trail of Tears the minute that the Europeans landed. But they don't talk about the 400 plus years from 1400 up into 1776, that there was a lot of things going on. There was Indians raping and pillaging each other and some of the settlers. But then you had the settlers that were grouped up together and actually creating a feudalist system, a federalist system. And this federalist system is what gave birth to some of the concepts that we have today with our checks and balances. And none of them have anything to do with democracy other than the method of picking your local federalist jurisdiction representatives to speak for you on a national level. You have individuals like AOC that we just played that are finagling the market and not realizing that the things that she's speaking on, when she says that they ran away from billionaires, that's code word to talk about Elon and Trump. That's code word to attack people that are making successful things in this nation, like Amazon. Half of these people go to McDonald's. So my problem with trying to meet in the middle is that the only way we can even conceive of this, because I have a sympathy for, say for instance, there's a guy that he's living on Section 8 right now, and he probably able-bodied, and he wants to get some sugary sodas. I don't think legislation should even be going and getting involved in that. No. There's a good chance that his father or grandfather fought in Vietnam, fought in the World War II, and we owe that to his family members as honoring the system that we created. But once we start getting into the open the borders and everybody's allowed, and now we can't even talk about this because you're talking about sharing fruits of something that they have nothing to do with. And they're not coming to improve, they're coming to take away and send their money home. You see it all the time, you know. Do you feel like I'm a little off tilter, Nate? Any of that? And if so, check me.
No. Here's the deal, man. These people are they base everything off the haves and the have-nots. Okay.
Right.
And if you are a have-not, then you're automatically a victim of the haves. Okay.
Right.
This individual has this individual doesn't have that. So now you're a victim of A block versus B block because A block busted his ass for 20 years, made the rank of E8 in the United States Army, and was able to buy a brand new house. Because I could tell you straight up, man, I got people literally that will hate me, and I'm sure you've both seen it too. I guarantee it, man. Anybody that retired with a little bit of rank or came out of the military with a little bit of education or rank, there will people that will hate you for what you've earned, okay, and what you work for, man. So when you see AOC and Mandami, and you see these individuals, they victimize the have-nots. The funny part is, they're the haves, okay?
Right.
AOC, man, she's getting motherfucking paid.
Yeah.
Okay, you just described Mandami, what he's getting paid, man, and what his, he wants all the elected officials in New York City to get an increase by a certain percentage. And you see it all the time, man. How in the hell that somebody that goes to be a state representative, or a district representative, or a state senator, how in the hell do they go in starting a job? And we've said this before, man. How in the hell do you go into making a job, starting a job where you're getting paid maybe just under $250,000 a year? All of a sudden, you are a multimillionaire within 3 years, man. Okay, this is the argument. They're hypocrites, brother. The big Democrats nowadays have turned into the biggest hypocrites that you and I and our generation's ever going to see. Now, the difference is we all grew up, the three of us sitting right here on this panel, we all grew up understanding that communism would do this to you. We grew up in education. I think we have a guest that just spoke about we need to educate our youth. If you could pull that up, Will, I don't know if you could pull that up. Somebody just spoke about we need to educate our youth. Okay, that's the environment that our generation grew up with. Thank you.
Right.
Henry Davis. Our generation grew up with educating these kids to understand the differences between capitalism, socialism, and how it can destroy a culture, how it can destroy a workforce. Okay. And then you have your individual entities that join that, such as some of the unions. Okay. And I'm not saying all unions are bad. I'm just saying my experience working with people that were in unions, I didn't see any positivity that they did to help the working class. I've seen them help shitbags. I've seen them help individuals that were on the verge of getting fired because they did something wrong. But I never really saw them fight for the working class. And my wife was a great example, man. When she was a union worker at CSX, she was a National Guard at the time, and they dinged her on a work weekend or something like that. But it was military duty that she had to perform. Okay. And just to make a long story short, the union didn't stick up for her. Literally, probably I'd say about, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, and I apologize when you watch this, honey. She told me don't ever mention CSX, man, on this network. So I didn't mean CSX.
I muted him.
Mute me, man. But no, she wasn't. She's going to be pissed off when she hears it. But yeah, I've seen the union workers get screwed over, man, for trying to do the right thing. And I've seen union workers get coddled for doing the wrong thing. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that the listeners out there understand where I'm coming from, dude.
It gets to be a nepotism pool.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell a story if I can, that my dad kind of shares. My dad grew up as an orphan in Southeast Alabama. His mom was not mentally capable enough to take care of him, and the father was a rapist. He was unknown. He was known in the community, but he was hidden. He was able to live his own life. So my dad was brought up by his mom's sisters and the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church in Southeast Alabama basically adopted my dad as soon as they could and made sure that he was well taken care of. They said that the people from the state came around every once in a while, but they didn't really do anything to help. My grandfather and my grandmother ended up being ministers in the Methodist Church. They weren't at that time, but later on, my grandma remarried and he was a minister. So Dad grew up, again, more and more and more in the Methodist Church. There were a group of families that they took care of in their community. They live in a town called Midland City, Alabama. You can look it up. It's a railroad town. There was less than 1,000 people there that lived there. And the Methodist Church had a group of people that they took care of, families that maybe not even attended the church, but they knew that they needed special help. Dad tells a story about when the government came in and began giving welfare and help. All of a sudden, the Methodist Church was like, well, they're getting money and from the government, and we were giving them money last week, and that all of a sudden all these churches have to have all these meetings. And what happened is they gave these families away to the government. Right? That's what happened when the money came in from somewhere else and the people didn't need the church to take care of them anymore. The church gave those families to the government, and it continues to this day. I don't know my neighbors down the street, and I'm not charged with taking care of them. If they are in my Sunday school class in my church, then I got it. But Dad describes a time when there was nobody left out of the community, and the church made sure of it. They would go knock on so-and-so's door and make sure they were taken care of. It was a pride, and it wasn't just one of the churches. It was all the churches. They cared about their community. Once them government checks started coming in, my dad said the community began to abandon the churches.
Exactly.
And to no longer support the churches, and the neighborhoods began to fall apart.
This is exactly
spot on.
This is exactly what we're pointing out is the social decay that is continuously happening. T. Arable, the right and left politically are a pair of pants, just different sides of the pocket. Demonizing one side over the other is exactly what they want to happen because it keeps the eye off them both being in the same backdoor meetings with corporations and billionaires. 100% agree, Terrible. But this is the caveat that I throw. This is a caveat that I throw to this argument. All right. I believe that 100% totally. It's just like left wing, right wing on a bird. The eagle flies. Both have to flap. The arguments and the battles may look like theatrics, but there are more to it than just the theatric. Yes, there's big money involved. That probably sucks in many ways. That's why we have the APAC issues. That's why we have so many different corporations that can go and nudge the right senator or the right congressman and get some favors done. There's a lot of this fuckery on both sides, and we should be paying attention and electing people in and out of office. Good example, Mitch McConnell. There's no fucking way this shit should be happening with him right now. And the reason why he's even still there is because there's a lot of people in his district in Kentucky that are just complacent because they're not paying attention to the outside world. They don't really give a fuck. They've known Mitch McConnell as being their guy since they were little and growing up. And there's a lot that's tied to it. Not saying that Mitch has always been a bad guy or a good guy. I think he got duped by a CCP lady. You know, she done flew off to China the minute he went into the hospital. And talking to the vice president. That's some strange shit to me. And she was tied up in the Bush administration. But basically what I'm saying is when this MAGA movement started taking off, why the hell didn't MAGA force that man out? Why didn't we put there's been obvious discontent there, but in his district, he has it in a chokehold. Why? Because everybody's complacent. So then when we have things that come along, like the SAVE Act, that could help, he's pulling bitch moves and declining the vote the way to actually make it efficient, make it effective. I see you shake your head, Top. What's your take?
Dude, all this is theater. Don't get caught up in it. They might as well put their powdered wigs on, bang gavels, and go, hear ye. They might, because it's all bullshit.
We're watching it. We're watching it happen, though. Will also, we're watching it happen right now with what's his name from what's the asshole's name from Maine, brother? You know who I'm talking about?
Glenn Platner.
Platner. Sorry, I'm not good with names, man. Especially these idiots, man. But look what just happened to him in the last 48 hours. Now I want him out. I don't agree with anything, all this shit, because he got accused for the second or third time of raping another woman or something. So my problem with that is, like you all hear, is they didn't give a shit when he was accused of the same crimes or the stupid tattoo thing and all this and that and all that. They didn't give a shit, man. They only started caring when they knew he was going to lose the election. Kind of like they did with Biden after they were sticking up for Biden all those years about him being incompetent. And then he went on that debate and they were like, oh shit, we're fucked. We are double fucked. We have to get him out. And they're doing the same thing with, say his name one more time. Maine. Platner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know nothing of what y'all talking about. I missed that story completely. So.
Oh, dude, man, it's huge, brother. Last 48 hours, man. This guy
is more theater, Top. It's more theater.
It's exactly what you said. It is theater, brother. It is theater. It is direct theater. But I'm telling you, you're seeing the Democrats continue to repeat this theater. When we call it out, they get pissed off. And especially with me on social media, man. And you know what, gentlemen, I'm getting better at it. I really am getting better at social media, man. Because I tell you what, motherfuckers are calling. You know how many?
I stay off it.
I swear to God, I'm getting better, man. I'm just like, is that worth talking shit to this individual, or just keeping my mouth shut, man, and just scrolling through with my phone, or just scroll through, man, and leave it alone, bro. But I can't do that, man. I gotta run my fucking mouth.
We're not changing anybody's mind in the comment section at all.
No, it is never gonna change. And vice versa with them and us, man.
MB Original had a nice comment. I wanted to highlight. She touched on. They touched on this. It hit me right in the head. T. Arable, the one side that should be demonized is the side pushing socialism. They want to destroy America while benefiting from capitalism. Now, this speaks to the root of what I'm aiming at. I don't care about the politics, okay? I really don't care about the political theater. This guy, Glenn Platner, all these accusations, they did the same shit for fucking Trump. They do the same shit for Swalwell, the Democrat in California. They did the same shit for Rick Santos in Delaware. I don't care. That's not my barrier of entry anyway. I don't start with believe all women. I know men lie, women lie. Everybody fucking lies. I'm not, that kabuki theater stuff can miss me. What I am concerned about is death taxes. What I am concerned about is electricity restrictions like they're doing in New York right now. Please don't we're trying to work on coordinates and ordinance. So 78 degrees is the highest you take your AC to. They're trying to act like Europe. And those
I forgot about that.
I'm affected by. I don't care about the code of personality. I look at the policies and I see whether or not during Obama's years, what he was elected for, did he actually achieve those things? Some of them he did, to the detriment of me because I didn't like the results. But elections have consequences. The congresswoman, the mayor of my city at the time, when I was conscious, Bob Buckhorn in Tampa, he came in and automatically started doing dumbass policies that made it hard for people to actually keep people employed in his own city. A lot of fines, a lot of permanent fees, extra loopholes to jump in for more permits. Then you look at Seattle, the shit that's going on. It's these things. It's not about the team politics and the tribal shit. Fuck all of that. What I'm worried about is, okay, how much you said I got to pay this year in taxes because you want to do what now? What you want to do with my money? That shit hits me hard. I work hard for my money. I work hard for my kids. I'm putting stuff up for my kids. Y'all keep y'all fucking hands off of it. That's what we're supposed to do in America. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it is written out in our bylaws. So if it's in our bylaws, why the hell we keep trying to find ways to wind it back and then make rich people rich in a form of authoritative power, centralize their power by paying them without earning? At least in capitalism, these billionaires, they're actually providing some form of value to somebody across the world, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Atlas, whatever company it is. That's
just
the
jobs,
argument.
man. Yeah.
Talking
just
about
jobs.
capitalism. Talking about capitalism. This channel is run by donors. So there's our donors right there, our master rated donors, all of our donors. So if you'd like to go to marshallinthemiddle.com and you can donate. Thank you so much. I just had to interject in there. Thank you guys.
Right on.
Absolutely.
Ray,
While I'm talking tomorrow night, me and First Sergeant Retired Frank Calderon are going to do a show called You Can't Count on Tomorrow. So y'all come check that out. Frank's going to lead it just like Ray's leading this one, and we're going to have a blast, man. We're going to have a blast. I tell you, Frank Calderon is one of my dearest leaders. He was a friend of me. He's been one of my longest continuous friends in my life, and he's a true patriot and American. He's been through a lot. And I'm proud of it, and I can't wait for tomorrow night. So y'all come check us out. You can't count on tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow night about the same time, 6 p.m. We're going to be hanging out right here. So what else you got, Ray?
All right, share my screen.
All right.
I think I know what's coming.
It's taking another hit. Google co-founder and billionaire Sergey Brin reported
Just to close off this ending
in a New York City investment fund for pennies on the dollar. Landlords are suffering from rent controls and explosive costs under Zohran Mamdani's administration. And Brin, well, he just wanted to get out before it was too late. All right, Charlie, I want to come to you on this here because the numbers suggest he took a $75 million loss on this. I wish we were all in that position.
How much?
Yeah, I don't know.
75 billion,
75 billion, 100 billion.
In the scheme of things, that might not be that much.
But
because
no,
it
man,
would cost him more.
The psychological pain of loss is
taxes that he's gonna have to pay.
He's still taking a loss, and that's always a hard thing to do. What does
He
this
can write it
mean?
off on his taxes.
What does this mean, though, for Mayor Mamdani's policies? I mean, I feel like every other topic right now, we're talking about crazy economic policies that they think will work, and now the market is responding.
I've been following muni bond prices on this, particularly short-term municipal bond prices, because, well, you know, there's been reporting on this on how New York City faces a weird cash crunch. Like every business faces cash crunches for now, every now and then, right?
Yeah.
You kind of budget for that. You hit the short-term borrowing markets because, you know, Fox doesn't have all the money in it, you know, coming in all at once to pay us, right? So it rolls commercial paper, right? There's a reason why Mamdani is not rolling the equivalent of commercial paper right now, because they do have a cash crunch. And it's because these notes that he would have to sell, they're called revenue anticipation notes or tax anticipation notes. The interest rates would be huge on it.
Yeah, astronomical.
They're
compared to the
they're
rest of the
rising.
country.
And then if you look at New York City muni bond prices, we are, you know, the prices are going down. The yields, you know, the premium you have to give a holder to buy it going up. And here's the interesting thing: he's a commie. He believes in sort of the warmth of collectivism, right? He believes in
there's no money in that.
Believes in taking private property, right? Because he said it. Believes in, he hates the tax, he hates the rich, you know, or he thinks they're useful idiots. And we're not even getting into the weird cultural stuff he's into. This is just the budget side. But he has to tap the capitalist system known as the municipal bond market. Now, at some point, there's going to be a divergence between those two. And you're just seeing signs of it now. When that happens, I don't know, but there has to be. Never before has New York City been run by a communist. The last time the municipal bond market rebelled was in the 70s, when it wasn't quite communism. It was just rank incompetence in City Hall.
Jimmy
you
Carter.
didn't have any sort of budget systems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you.
Like, well, enough's enough. This is a little different. Like,
That's what he meant to say.
Market finance a commie.
Well, does that force the hand, right? Does the tide turn the other way when the interest costs go higher?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you're a real estate owner here and proud, you saved for it. What do you think of this and tearing down real estate values and his policies?
I'm not surprised by it because you see what's coming down the pike. And to my original point, $75 million loss on the books right now might not be anything really when you think about what could happen in the long run. And the truth of the matter is nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody wants to have to fight these policies or do business here. And so what happens if everybody starts flocking out? I mean, he said that people wouldn't. Well, a lot of people already left. And so if anybody who's still here then decides, I don't want to deal with the hassle of this, there are better places to do business or invest, and they go, then the city really deteriorates. And the sad part of that is all the people he promised he was going to help, he's actually hurting, not only through his own policies, but because of the flight of capital.
Yeah, driving up
All right.
price.
So that hit the bill on that, which in turn does stuff like this.
Death penalty for the man accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO. In explaining her decision, the Attorney General calls the murder a premeditated
You guys remember him?
assassination. That
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
he's a hero to many.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
That's a
shamefully.
And-
That's the crux of the problem.
You get what I'm saying? The comment from T. Arable, Ray, a lot of this corporate is corporate driven. Those policies that get enacted are all for the corporations. Capitalism has been shown to destroy countries like it is doing to this country and many other Western nations.
Wow. Come on, T. Arable, brother.
Those
Well, hold on
corporations
now.
in
Now,
New
look,
York
T.
City
Arable ain't saying
are
wrong
just-
stuff.
No, those corporations in New York City are just mad that he is getting the rest of the public involved in the economy of their city instead of giving them carve-outs like they was getting for years. Once again, corporations are greedy. All right, corporations are greedy. The guy that is leaving $75 million short. That don't sound like greed. The problem with the idea that that it's actually helping the people when the people need jobs, the private sector, the public sector cannot provide all jobs because it creates nothing. It produces nothing. The government sector, the public sector only gets its revenue based off of the production of something. So if you are taxing all of the people that are employing majority of the people, and these people go to places where they have better tax incentives, if you have a time, go look at what's happening in Seattle. If you want me to do it, come back next week and I'll have it on the block. We will go all through it. What's happening in Seattle real time with another socialist. 2, you said in all Western countries where capitalism is destroying. You cannot have socialism without the back of capitalism's success. Value for value exchange success. You have to have the profit in order to come in strong arm and divvy it up by force to who you deem you want to send it to. So the problem with what you're saying right now about it's all for the corporations and the corporations are getting that is unrealistic reality. In all reality, being a good sound economist will tell you, any good sound economist will tell you that the number one way to create a middle class is to create a thriving culture of pro-business. The reason why is because the businesses are what's generating the ideas. Oh, I got a new shoe. Oh, I got a new hat. Oh, I came up with this new flavor of steak, and no, I've never tested it nowhere. So I'm going to go get a barbecue stand, and I'm going to sell my steaks right here. Amazing Steaks Barbecue by Ray's Baby, Sugar Ray, right? so now I got this barbecue stand, and I'm making my little money. Guess what? I start expanding. People hear about the value of my steak, the marinated to die for. You got to go check it out. Guess what I do? I buy an actual location. I hire servers. I hire other people. Now more people are benefiting off of my idea and my sweat equity that I took the risk to start. So now once you start turning around and say, okay, look, I get it. you're making profit of about 15 cents on the dollar. So every dollar you spend, you're making 15 cents. But when we look at the books, it looked like you're making $1 million a year. Well, you're not taking into my losses. You're not taking into my salary. You're not taking into account to my payroll taxes. You're not taking into account my personal taxes. So you want to tax me now an extra 4 cents on the dollar because Jimmy over here pissing himself in the subway station needs somewhere to stay instead of you going to lock his ass up. We need to talk facts. These are the facts of the matter. And what they're doing is with their soft on crime, we're just going to let you back out. No bond. All of these things add up to a bad business atmosphere. Then you're taxing them and you're killing. They're leaving. There's other places to go. So what happens when socialists create a budget? They have this budget printed. They want to stick to it. These are all the promises we gave you. But then your tax revenue, the people who pay over 90% of your revenue, what you projected, cleared. Guess who gets it now? The middle class. After that, then the poor, the lowest of them. So it always comes back to bite you in the ass because socialism creates nothing to actually split up. What you got? I saw you was trying to say something. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, brother. No, I'm listening to you, man. We could go on this subject for 4 hours if you want to, man. I'm just telling you straight up. I never received a paycheck from a poor person in my life. And I don't know too many people that have. Okay. So when they want to ruin and hurt these billionaires and all this billionaires, the billionaires and the billionaires, like I said before, until they become a millionaire. And guess what, brother? These hypocrites that I was just talking about, man, all these motherfuckers become millionaires, bam, in like a year, man. I swear to God, I'm in the wrong business, dude. I could take my retirement, man, and VA disability or whatever the hell I get, man. And I could tell you what, man, I should be a congressman, man. I think I'd make a pretty good one. Unfortunately, I got some bad stuff in my background too when I was in the military and all that. They'll dig anything up on your ass, man. You know how that shit works.
They'll do it. They'll do it.
They'll find me. Wait, Fort Bragg. Oh shit! I'll find something on this motherfucker, man.
Don't feel bad. They'll destroy me in politics if I was. He's fucking Black Hitler.
No, you're not a Black Hitler. You are what do they call it? Uncle Tom, man.
Yeah, and a coon. Super coon. Yep. I'm all that. I'm all that to him. At this point, I feel like whatever they call me, that I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right. Ray, your take sounds a lot like Reaganomics, which we are still paying for, which those non-existing trickle downs. I guess you meant non-existing trickle downs.
Who said that?
T. Arable.
T. Arable. Were you even alive during Reaganomics? Because I was. And I'm being cool, man. But dude, I lived through that shit, man.
It's really neat. One of the interesting things that I think about our okay. There's one thing that we make in this country. We manufacture one thing that's of any good. It's world leading. Y'all know what that is? Bombs. That's what we make. Okay. There's a plant just opening down the street from me. They're employing bomb makers for $17.50 an hour. Our country manufactures one world leading thing now. It used to be automobiles. It used to be all kinds of things that we were good at. Even for a time, it was electronics. Okay, not no more. The only thing we make now are bombs. And I would hope that over time that we could decide that we can manufacture jeans again and sell them to our neighbors and call them Levi's. And we can make American-made products that are nostalgic and wonderful and be of value to our friends and neighbors that are around us. But right now, our whole government,
like the white nationalist talk.
Hey, right now, our whole government is nothing but making bombs, dude.
I don't know, man.
That you just gave the MAGA spiel for 2016. That's the voter you just was talking to. You know?
And we're about to open up the largest Toyota plant in the world. they're moving out of Mexico, man, and they're moving back here.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Bring in things that employ people, give them purpose. Those automobile factories.
What do you feel about Amazon and the 400,000 people that it employs? What do you feel about that? That's not. I mean, Amazon is shipping all across the world, man.
So let's talk about that.
They put malls out of business, man.
Okay, so Amazon and being employed by an Amazon company, you are not creating anything. You're simply taking something from one place and moving it somewhere. There's not people.
The GDP is created by product producing. Now you can produce service that has the extrinsic value. If you're willing to come out of your pocket and exchange your hourly labor wages for something, no matter where you're at in the world, that exchange is value. You're creating value, service.
Look, that's great. But I'm going to tell you something. You go to any Amazon employee that's doing anything that's involved with Amazon, 90% of them are bored as shit, hate what they do, and wish they didn't have to do it. Whether they're driving the Amazon delivery truck or taking whatever from this shelf to that shelf. The people that are currently working in our society hate their jobs unless they're in some kind of creative or in a space where they're interacting with the public. I got a friend of mine, God bless her. She loves her job. She's in surgery intake, and she gets to pray with every one of the patients that walk through her door before they go to surgery. Now, she loves her job, right? Okay. But most of the people that are working in the convenience stores or driving a truck, they hate their job. I just drove through Burger King, right? I looked at the lady at Burger King and I smiled at her. I said, "You're having a great day." And she goes, I said, "Now that I told you you're having a great day, you're having a great day, aren't you?" She's like, "You know what? I am. Thank you very much." Right? But we make a difference where we're at. We decide to be happy. We decide to love one another. All this theater about socialism and all the blah, blah, blah. It really, 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 we got to decide to love one another, you know? We'll see what MBO Original said. Yeah.
For the nation to understand their purpose, the tradition of family needs to return. For our politics to become better, deportation needs to happen, and patriotism needs to rise. 1000% concur. I have no disagreement with that. You know, I think the problem is what I'm seeing, even in this conversation, and you can see the dispute between, say, me or T. Arable and you, even Top, when you say those people working at Amazon don't love their job. You can't speak for them all, for one. And for two, I don't think working and toiling in the sun since the Bible days, since the Old Testament, it's never been something anybody's happy to always do. It's a part of life. It's a part of getting your calories. It's a part of the human experience, the existence. Just existing, either you're going to be out there hunting to eat from sun up to sundown, you're going to be tilling the land from sun up to sundown, or you're going to be participating in a system that has fiat dollars that create a economy where you can weigh on a free market scale for exchange. Either way it goes, that's going to be the nature. The only other outside thing which we're talking about, socialism and communism, is a total lack of any kind of up or down mobility that you would want without nepotism or being born into it. And that is opposing everything that we like to hold dear to as freedom. Top, what's up?
Like my universal basic income's coming next week, man. I signed up for that last week. I'm getting that universal basic income, man. That's the way I'm
Andrew Yang almost made it to their primaries back in 2020. Yeah, that would have been his run. But I think those people, when we elect people, those people are typically just avatars of what generalized populace is feeling. So that's the reason why I feel like the key is to trying to get this information out, not to actually hold sway and sweat over the daily theater, as we like to, as you like to say, Top, but more so as to try to influence the overall ether of the cognitive minds that everybody's having. You know, Nate, you put a quote in the beginning of your book coming from George Orwell, 1984. He was he's do you remember that quote offhand? Because it's definitely fitting the bill.
It has something to do with history will lose itself if we don't teach it to the youth, or something to that effect. Because I wrote that book about 6 or 7 years ago. But yeah, what we know as history will be erased, man, and that is the sole purpose
given to the victor
of the communists and the Marxists of this planet, man. Is to first you got to take out the youth. You got to turn everybody on each other. Okay.
Right.
Thank you, President Obama, who I believe started doing all that shit, man. In my opinion. And I mean by turning on each other, he said he was going to be the president to combine our world between race and all this and that. I've never seen more division, okay, than when I saw when Barack Obama became our president there.
I mean, wasn't the 90s good, man?
The 90s were great, dude. I loved it, man.
Race was the last thing on my mind in the 90s, truly.
I'm telling you straight up, I didn't give a shit, man. Back in the 90s, man, I didn't follow none of this shit. You know when I started following all this stuff, Ray and Will? I started following all this when I had to buy my first house, man. And I had to start paying like serious bills, man.
Exactly.
When I got out of them fucking barracks, my wife just handed me. Yeah. So what you're saying is, and here's the book, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Whoever controls the present controls the past. To wipe away history means one will never learn from it. This is the concept of George Orwell's book of 1984, published in 1949, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
He wrote this in 1949 because he saw the uprising of Marxism in Europe back in those days, and he saw the creation of the Soviet Union, man. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. But yeah, that's what I wrote that. But that is a statement and a quote from George Orwell. Yes, sir.
For what it's worth, I feel like that we are in those days of the creation of what we call a hard left utopia. They're chasing it. There's an old saying that the socialists and communists believe in a utopia that you can only get there after passing through a river of blood and bodies, and you still never get there. And as we've seen Stalin, Mao, Kim Jong-un, we've seen numerous leftist Hitler dictators try to create their soldiers. A lot of people don't realize that, but Hitler was a Nazi, National Socialist Party.
Xi Jinping's in there with him too.
Yeah, he's kind of
he's in there with him.
He embraced a lot of capitalist things to better the economy and be more competitive on the world stage, but they still don't have the electorate or the freedom for people to move how they want to. Either you're down with the CCP or you're not. You know, but you know, so ultimately, you know, I think that we are in that time period, and the less we do of ignoring it, and the more we do of voicing it, alarming people to it, I believe the more chance we have at avoiding it. And if it's not to be avoided, I guarantee you, once the collapse happened, just like after the Great Depression and civil wars, and you know, humans will find a way back, and maybe we will rebuild. But I will say this to everybody watching: if everything goes to shit, you know, in the next 20, 30 years, just remember that we have a perfect path back, and it's through the Constitution. If everybody was to absorb that Constitution for the contextualized, originalist thinking and understand the context, that is such a beautiful architecture. That's the reason why they want to destroy it. That's why they want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to get rid of the Senate. They don't want the confluence of power. They want to centralize the power as much as possible in one mob rule. And if we all can keep that in mind and stay in tune with our local politics and make sure that they're not teaching this stuff to your kids, and you're not doggone voting for people that even start hollering these words of democratic socialists. They all have an agenda, and they're on it. And you can look at it as two sides of one bird. Well, I'm still going to go for the people that's trying and showing by the hand of vote. When they have these voting sessions, I tune in, and they show by their vote and go on record, and they're against certain things. I think everybody should take that time to even do it for themselves. That's how we avoid finding ourselves waking up to a night America instead of American dream. You know?
Well said, man.
What you got, Top?
Hey, I'm good. Take us out, man. Let's go.
Hey, man, I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all at home watching enjoyed it. We look like we got what two comments before we go in. Top, for the nation to understand their purpose, the tradition of family needs to return. For our politics to become better, deportation needs to happen.
Oh, it's the same one.
Needs to come with it. Okay, and I respect your heart, Top, but not everyone is deserving to be shared to. Nothing is deserving. Everything comes with work. Amen. Ain't on that. I love it. 1000% MB original. I'm 1000% with you.
I totally disagree with that. I think everything is made to be shared, but it's a different way you look at it, right? Everything I have was given to me, not by me, right? Even as how hard I worked for it, it still was not. It was not earned by me. It was given by God to me, and I can share it as I want. So
okay,
but again, I'm not talking about the collective. I'm talking about me personally, my personal things. Like if I have a guitar, there's not one that I'm going, I'll share all the ones, but this one's special. You can't borrow that one. No, everything I have is shareable, right? I've proved it multiple times.
Hey, Top.
Yeah.
Scenario: you max out your push-ups, right? There's 3 guys that fail. How about we share your score? Let's cut it in third.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's do that this time. Yeah, this time. We'll do it one time.
No. One thing about the history of taxes and power that we give the government, we never get it back until there's bloodshed. You know what I'm saying? So any tax that has came in and was temporary is still here to this day.
Then we can get into the transgender in the military, maybe our next conversation next week, man, because that's where I was going to go with it, man. You know, I could tell, I could walk up to my first sergeant, man, be like, I feel like a female today, man. I only need to do 13 push-ups to pass this motherfucker. And he's like, okay, that's fine. But the guy that struggles to get 42 push-ups, the 18-year-old male who claims he's a male, he don't have to do 42 push-ups. Or if he fails 42 push-ups, he's going to get kicked out of the fucking army, man, after failing 2 record PT tests. Let me shut up about it now, but that'd be a good conversation for another episode.
Especially after what the Supreme Court just ruled last week, we could cover it.
I love the old joke where we're going to put all the lesbians with PMS on the assault team, and the gays are going to be on the recovery team, right? They're going to do the redecoration.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Hey, it was another good one, guys. Love you guys. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in to the NBC Room.
Marshall in the middle.